So the Buddha was walking peacefully with his group, his gang, through a village when a man approached, red-faced, raged. When he bumps into the Buddha and his friends, he begins to insult him and shout and swear. A kind of Ming dynasty road rage, if you like. When the disciples were shocked, one of them stepped forward to protect the Buddha, but the Buddha raised his hand calmly and said, "Let him speak." So the man shouted again, "You teach lies, you're a fake, you're a beggar, pretending to be wise." And the Buddha stood silently, smiling gently. When the man had finally exhausted himself, the Buddha said, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" And the man blinked and said, "Well, to the one who offered the gift." "Exactly," said the Buddha. "And I do not accept your anger, because that belongs to you." But the Buddha continued, "There must be great suffering inside of you for it to spill out in a way like this, and I've got complete compassion for you." They turned to walk away, but later the man came back, returned to the Buddha, bowed and said, "I'm so sorry, I was angry. But my life, my father died, my business failed, I felt powerless." And the Buddha placed a hand on his shoulder. My name is Michael Dawson, the author of Quit Your Diet. And if you're done with diets, meal plans, calorie counters, then you could be in the right place, because I'm here to help you build a 14-day roadmap to quitting diets forever. Membership on my website is currently free, and it gives you access to all the tools you'll need, along with digital downloads, zip files, PDFs, and it's at actionfactorpublishing.com. And if you've got a moment, you can click on a link around here somewhere and visit quit-your-diet.com to take a 12-question quiz to discover for yourself where your weight issue lies on the pyramid of change and what you can do about it. In this short series of videos, we've been talking about a series of assumptions that I make about all of my clients, because assumptions about people change the way that we interact with people. There's a great explanation of all this at the beginning of this little playlist, and I've been suggesting to you that these 7 assumptions might be good to make about yourself. Working with clients who are experiencing really deep-seated problems and change, I found that these assumptions have been really reliable. So check out the rest of this playlist, or skip back a few episodes to find out more. And today we're talking about there's a positive intention behind every behavior and how we interpret that. I think I first heard this at school, maybe religious studies. And I remember all the hands flew up in the air. You know, what about murder? What about stealing? Well, we were soon put right on that score. You see, it says a positive intention, and that intention at that moment is the very best that you can do given all of your life circumstances, even if that means robbing a bank. And as the Buddha just illustrated, the actual behavior given towards him was not, it wasn't polite, wasn't nice, but it came from a deeper place. And that's why the Buddha was refusing to accept this gift. How does this help us? Of course, and as usual, these ideas and tools have literally helped millions of people overcome change. We're here to talk about weight problems. And as you probably know by now, this doesn't relate to your actual weight. It relates to the weight problem, the obsessions, the calorie counting, the guilt, and the management of the whole thing, the diet culture, the hacks and the pills and the superfoods. So if you follow me or you follow my channel, you've been through that, you've got nowhere, and you've decided to try something quite radical, like quitting your diet forever. And in my book, I can help you build a 14-day plan using powerful tools that will leave you more contented, happier, more focused on the things that matter. So how can these assumptions help us? Well, I am suggesting that you actually make these same assumptions about yourself in that kind of self-talk. Every behavior has a positive intention at that moment. I'm no philosopher, but there is a quote by Heraclitus, if you'll pardon my pronunciation, being from Manchester. He says, "No one ever steps in the same river twice." Or, as he says, the full quote, is something like, no man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he is not the same man. And this just beautifully illustrates the idea that everything is constantly changing. Nothing stays the same, and not even for a moment. And the river is always flowing, and so are we. Once we can agree this with ourselves, then it becomes much easier to kind of forgive what we did in the past and take action today, and only today, that's better for us. Now, I can almost feel lighter just saying that, because every dumb decision I ever made, every person I hurt, including myself, had a positive intention right in that moment. And this gives you some freedom, I think. As a way of kind of forgiving yourself, being able to get off that diet treadmill, sometimes after years, with that little robot in your head telling us that we failed, telling us we fell off again. It just shuts that voice up, because there's no room for kind of beating ourselves up. There's a saying, isn't there? Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why they call it a present. That's wonderful. Now, I think that was from someone called Master Oogway, the wise turtle from Kung Fu Panda, though it is attributed to Eleanor Roosevelt, but we don't know truly the original quote. So from this perspective, I suggest that Master Oogway was right, and we should accept the present and move on. And when I use this assumption with clients, I'm talking to them with the knowledge that whatever they did or tried in the past, then that could have been a different person in different circumstances in a different river, if we could extend that metaphor. And maybe we could do this for ourselves. There's a story about a guy who struggled academically at school. He wasn't focused, he had poor grades. And then one day he sat for a standardized test, the SAT it's called across the US. Weeks later, he received his result. He'd scored 1480 out of 1600. This was exceptional. And then something kind of shifted in him. He thought, maybe I'm not stupid. Maybe I can do this. And that belief kind of changed his behavior. He started turning up to classes, he studied, he committed, and he eventually got in a good college, graduated, and became a really successful entrepreneur. And it was years later he received a letter from the SAT board, and it turned out there'd been an error. His actual score was way, way lower. But by then it didn't matter. The belief had already changed his behavior and his life. So, we remember that every behavior is your personal history, was based around that environment, and you had a positive intention at the time. It kind of gives us all a blank check, doesn't it, to try something entirely new right now. And I believe that. I believe that with all the clients I work with, and my message in this video is for you to believe that about yourself. My name is Michael Dawson. This is Quit Your Diet. I want to thank you for being there. A quick reminder that signing up to my free membership at actionfactorypublishing.com entitles you to full access to all the tools in the members area and invites you to our live virtual group chats, and you will never pay for those materials. If you haven't done the quiz yet, there's a link around here somewhere, and you can do a 12-question quiz that will help you out with whatever level you're at. And one final favor that really helps me out a massive amount, just half a second just to tap the like button. It means so much. It helps us spread the message and help more people get free from this diet treadmill, calorie counters, meal plans. And I hope you're going to join us on this journey if you haven't already. I hope you're going to join us on this journey if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next video.